So April 1985, and the weather's getting warmer in the evenings, and so it's always up to the Downs after work for a kick around. Jumpers for goalposts down one end, and then up the other end there was a tree. This tree. It was a lot smaller then. It was a long time ago, a lot thinner, kind of goalpost shaped. So jumper the other side, and on we went. 5 minutes later, ball comes over. There's Kev and there's me, and we both turn to chase after the ball, and unfortunately there's the tree. Smack. The next thing I know, I'm lying flat on my back with a ring of faces looking down at me, asking him if I'm okay, and the sound of Kev retching over in the distance from the sound my head made when it hit the tree. I didn't realise I'd been unconscious. My head hurt, so I went in goal. It's what you do, isn't it? And then afterwards, I didn't fancy the pub. It was still hurting, so went home. Wife whisked me off down to A&E. Fractured skull, kept in overnight, and identified that I had a blood clot on my brain. And so straight into the operating theatre, minimum 4 hours before they could do it. So fit and well now, fully recovered. And the rest, as they say, is history.
Not surprisingly, that sort of brought about the end of football on the Downs, and we started looking for somewhere a bit safer to play, and someone recommended a five-a-side pitch over in Easton.
Turned up, and it was just like one of these old billiard tables where they've been used so many times. People had gaffer taped up bits that had curled up.
I turned up in my pride and joy, my first ever company car, navy blue Vauxhall Cavalier, 2-litre injection. Unfortunately, it was subject to unusual scrutiny from the locals, as it turned out to be the standard issue car for the local CID.
Parking your car there, you always kept your fingers crossed just in case it was not there when you got back to it.
After the match, we found our cycle tyres slashed, which was not very friendly and not very easy to get home.
There was a bit of commotion around the place, and noticed there were a few local youths, obviously up to something, and then realised they were chucking fireworks, bangers and stuff onto the pitch. So it wasn't quite like European football, but it had that sort of atmosphere.
We were playing five-a-side on an Astra pitch every Monday in Easton, and then we thought, well, there's quite a few of us now. We could actually get an 11-side team together. I think somebody said, I've got a works team who will play us. So we formed Dynamo Rorschach and had a couple of friendly games. Rorschach was a band in Bristol. We were Dynamo Rorschach because a lot of the guys played for Rorschach, but we kind of lost that name when we went into the Casuals League. I think we wanted something that actually reflected our football background rather than our musical background, and as we played in Easton on a Monday, we became Easton Monday. And my wife worked with Harry Mottram.
It sounds ridiculous now, but I was reading a library book about Victorian football. I had bought a bottle of whiskey one night, got a bit carried away, and so I then wrote a letter to the Evening Post saying we're looking for an opponent to play in the spirit of Victorian football.
Next door to me was a guy called Roger who played for in Bedminster, who later became Red Star Bedminster. And when he saw me coming back from football one day, he said to me, "Oh, so you play football then?" I said, yeah, we've just started playing one or two 11-side friendlies. And he said, well, why don't you play against us? Harry got to hear about this. He said, well, I play for the Corinthians. We play the old friendly. Why don't we? And he kind of floated the idea of, why don't we play you and try and get this league together for people who are too old, too fat and too slow, which became our slogan. If you're too old, too fat, too slow, you're in.
I don't know, I can't remember if it was 5, 6, 7 teams all said they would like to join in at Casuals League. So I suggested, I think it was the Highbury Vaults in Kingsdown in Bristol. We met up, and it was like an inaugural meeting. Some rather strange characters turned up. I was just amazed by the enthusiasm of so many guys.
The sort of league that Harry was proposing, a sort of Corinthian spirit league, sort of appealed to us, because none of us wanted to sort of play Sunday pub football, where you just got the shit kicked out of you and a load of verbal abuse. We just wanted to sort of carry on having a game with our mates, but with nets instead of jumpers for goalposts, and wearing a proper kit.